Hey there. Have you ever wondered what are default values while creating a table in Oracle? Well, let's look into this now. So I'm just dropping a table if it exists, and then I'm trying to create a table. And if you look at here, for employee ID, I'm populating it as identity, which means that it's going to be always incremented by one, and I don't need to insert the data into this column. So this is also kind of default value. And then I have employee name for which I'm going to insert the data manually, and then is active is to indicate whether this particular row is active row or not in this table, and I'm making it as by default y. In case if I specify a value, it's going to take it, otherwise by default it will be populated with y. And the similar way, I have something called create a date, and it's a date field. This is to indicate when this record was created in the database, and I'm making it as default sys date. That means whenever we run the insert statement, whatever the time it was executed, the same time it takes as create a date. And then similarly created username, and this is a variable character field. And here if you see that, like, I'm making it as default user. So the user is nothing but whatever the user that has logged into this table to perform this operation, the specific username will be captured and inserted into this table, which means that technically in this entire table the only field that I have to insert the data would be like employee name. Just all the fields are going to be inserted dynamically. So why do we need the default values? There are cases where, like, we don't want to populate the values. Instead, we always want to make them as default value, so that, like, until unless we explicitly specify, it can be populated. That means that the source application much more easier its operation and all. Well, let's look at it real quick, right? I'm just creating the table here, and it has been created, and I would say that insert into employees of, I'll say that employee name, and then I'll say Venkat, and I have executed. Now let's select the data. Select star from employees. And if we check it out, so employee ID1 populated default. And then we have employee name Venkat is active Y, which is default value. Then created date, the time when it statement was executed, and the user is sales user I have used to log in. Right. Well, this is how the default values are executed. Let me know what you guys if you are also having options to pop default values.